Welcome to Metal Wani and Metal Nation Radio. With us we have Christopher Amott. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
The new Armageddon album, Captivity and Devourment, it's out. Fans have had a taste of it, and keeping everything in mind and the kind of gap between this and the last album, what sort of feedback did you actually expect from the fans as you were working on the album?
I didn't really think about that. I mean, I just thought about making a great record,
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting positive feedback because I thought it was a great songs I was working on. So, I mean, I knew some people were going to be asking questions about, like, why was there such a long gap? But, honestly, it doesn't matter. I mean, this is a project that I've kept going for a long, long time.
Right.
And this is a fresh start, and I think it's the best album that Armageddon has ever done. So.
Right, and you also were on tour. You played in a lot of shows in States. So how was the response when you played this new material live?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, we really like playing live, and we are getting better and better as a live band. We have a lot of energy now. We have a new vocalist who's great.
Right.
Anthony Hamalainen, and we're really functioning well as a live band. So I really like doing it.
Right, must have been a change for you because it was known as a studio project, and now as a full-fledged band. Any plans of touring different continents? Because of course fans are everywhere. You being Swedish, you must be having a lot of fans in Europe as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it as a new band actually, because we're not playing stuff from the songs from the old albums.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, we are planning a European tour at this moment.
Okay.
And I'm talking to booking agents, and we're going to go to Japan.
Awesome.
And not India, unfortunately, yet.
Oh.
But I want to go. I want to play there.
Right, because the reason why I wanted to ask that is because you have a very strong fan following in Japan. I mean, the time you were in Arch Enemy, or be it your
Yeah.
as a musician yourself, there's always that amazing crowd in Japan who are looking forward to the shows. But here in India as well, there's a crazy fan following of you being as a musician, like with Armageddon, or even with Arch Enemy as well. So we never had any sort of chance to see you guys live.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we had some offers in our chat meeting to play, but it just fell through for various reasons. So I think there's nothing on Tim or my part that didn't want to go to India. I think it was just up to the promoters there.
And I just hope you guys get to come here, because you have a very strong fan following here, not just for you being part of Armageddon, but as your journey from from 90s till now. There are many fans who actually worship you as a guitarist, to be honest.
That's amazing. That's crazy to think about, that people in India like my guitar playing. And it makes me very happy. And all I can say is I hope to come over one day,
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to that. Now, you guys, Armageddon in general, you never stuck to a single style across your discography. I mean, if I listen to your first Till the Captivity and Devourment, I just...
Yeah, can I just clear something up? Armageddon is basically my solo project to begin with. So it's just me. The first album was me and my brother wrote that album.
Yeah.
It's a one-off project concept album, and he wrote the lyrics about the destruction of Earth, a science fiction story, and we named it Armageddon.
Mm-hmm.
Year later, the Bruce Willis movie came out, which was kind of unlucky because I didn't think that was a very good movie. And then I wanted to do another album outside of Arch Enemy that was metal, and I decided to keep the name Armageddon, and then so on and so forth. So it's always been different members, and I've been the main songwriter. So,
right.
So in this time, I'm writing with the bass player, Sarah Claudius. She wrote the lyrics, and we wrote the music together. So, and I wrote some of the lyrics too. We collaborated on this one. So it's a few different members,
Right, because
so you guys, it's like it's actually me changing styles.
Right. It's because you handle lead vocals on previous albums, and now here you're doing some clean singing, if I'm not wrong, on this album.
I sang on the third album, yeah.
Right.
This one I sing a bit of clean vocals on, yes.
Yeah. So was it more like that sudden urge that sparked to return to more intense music, and let's say to focus more on your guitar playing?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, I did 2 solo albums in 2009 and 2012, and they were more mellow, soft rock stuff, and I'm very focused on the vocals and my clean vocals and the lyrics, and I wanted to get back to just playing intense metal guitar. So I formed a band to do that, but I'm still going to do other kinds of music. So Armageddon is just a part of what I do.
Right. And if I'm not wrong, you were also supposed to be part of Ghost Ship Octavius with Van Williams.
Yes, yeah, I started out with that, yeah. No, it just didn't work out. Some things don't work out, some collaborations,
Right. The moment Van, was done with Nevermore, and Matthew as well was playing on Valdane's first solo album. So I was really excited that, okay, Christopher is there going to play with Van Williams. He's one of my favorite drummer. So
it's great.
And I just hope you guys get to play in future, because it's a different combination, but when you guys will work together as a team, it's definitely going to yield a very good result.
Well, we tried it and it didn't work, so.
Nonetheless, it's all about hope, maybe in future,
Yeah, well, it was a different situation. We all, I think we all came from bands that were, we had a bit of experience in the business, and everybody had a very strong vision of what they wanted the band to be.
Right.
So it was like 3 people with a very strong idea, and that was hard to collaborate. So.
Right. So whenever these supergroups come into the picture, it's always a matter of how you guys share the ideas and come to a specific conclusion where all 3 of you, or let's say all 4 of you, are happy with the end product.
With Ghost Ship, we couldn't hardly get off the ground, so I had to leave.
Okay. I'm glad you were able to get back to this album. For me as a fan, I mean, it's metal the way I want to hear. I mean, of course, you have explored a lot of it. I mean, I hear a bit of, that little bit of death, some thrash, even some power metal as well. So it's got everything for a music lover. Is that what you were actually, looking forward to do, or it just happened naturally?
It just happened naturally. That's the way I've always done it. I don't really, I like so many different styles of music, and I just want to write good songs, so. I was just thinking of like, this song needs that, I wasn't thinking of a certain style.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way we did it in Arch Enemy. We would just mix different types of riffs and styles and stuff, just to create, I just want to make really intense and interesting songs. In my mind, I mean, it probably sounds old to other people. I don't know what kids listen to these days. Like, I don't like a lot of new metal bands.
Right. I was about to ask you, because you don't listen to the new metal bands. You don't want to be influenced.
Oh, you read my other interviews, huh?
All right. So I was just wondering, I want to know, why is that so that you don't listen to the new bands?
Well, not now. Now I wouldn't mind being influenced, but I actually don't like a lot of metal bands, unfortunately. I don't know. Maybe it makes me sound like an old, boring guy, but I mean, with Arch Enemy, I mean, when we started Arch Enemy in the 90s, I didn't want to listen to our sort of peers, like other bands like Meshuggah, In Flames, The Haunted,
right,
etc. I listened to Pantera, Metallica, Slayer, Megadeth, and all those, and of course Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden and all that, Judas Priest, growing up. And then when we started writing for Arch Enemy, I was listening already to other kinds of music, pop music and any kind of stuff, jazz, classical, just electronic stuff. So just anything with a good melody and a good song, So at that point, we were taking influences from all kinds of weird places, but you wouldn't notice because we changed it. We would I'm sorry about that. We would steal a melody from here and there, and but the riffs would be based on maybe an older metal. Like we would be influenced by Slayer and bands like that still, or Black Sabbath. So
right. For you as a musician, I just kind of feel that the way you're addressing these things. Would you? I mean, for you, you might not be happy with somebody tags your music as like melodic death metal. I don't think you're happy with any sort of categorization for your music.
Oh, death metal is fine. I mean, it's got the growling vocals, and we sing about death sometimes.
Okay.
I don't know. Death metal is from the '90s when you were singing about rotting corpses and stuff. But we don't really do that. But I guess it could be called melodic death metal. I don't mind. That's fine, you know.
Yeah, because a lot of bands tend to get pissed off when we talk about categorization, especially in the progressive metal scene. Holy shit, I'm tired of bands saying, hey, don't call us prog. We're not prog, please. So that's a crazy situation.
Really? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's fine. You know, you have to have some kind of label. Otherwise, you can't just tell people that you play music. You know, you have to have some kind of direction. So.
Right, right. Now apart from the kind of music you also play, your pop affinity also, comes as no surprise. You contributed a guest solo to the baby metal song, which is the Nemesis version, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. How did that happen? I mean, of course, I listened to a few tracks of baby metal, but I just never came across it. Just that when I was doing some research for the interview, like, oh my God, I didn't know that you played a solo on the baby metal song.
Yeah, actually, yeah. No, we have in Japan. I've worked with one guy since I first started releasing albums there. He used to work at a label called Toys Factory, and a big label, and he was doing the metal department there. But then he left and started his own label called Trooper Entertainment. So I followed him. I've worked with him. He's the only person I've worked with in Japan. And the same for Arch Enemy, so for all the years. So he set it up. Somebody asked him, and he forwarded the message to me. So I actually laid down guitars for it wasn't just a solo, it was the whole song. They sent me a song with already guitars on it, and I just kind of re-recorded it in my version or whatever, So
right.
It was pretty hard. It was a difficult song. There's a lot of different parts. Awesome. It was fun.
Yeah, that's true. I always wonder. I was having a chat with Chris Impellitteri last night, and he was telling me about the fan base he has in Japan. And now we have Christopher Amott with the same fan base in Japan. Is there something that's sort of a connection between the crazy guitarists and the Japanese metalheads?
Well, they definitely like guitar solos and guitar heroes, so to speak. So that's never gone out of style there. So. Yeah, definitely, they like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for the artist as well, because when you have a very specific fan following in a specific country, it's good because you get to build the fan base and you get to play shows there.
Yeah, Japan's always been great. Ever since we got to go there in 1997 with Arch Enemy, we opened up for a band called Cathedral.
Right.
And it was crazy. Ever since then, they liked Arch Enemy, and they liked the brothers playing twin guitar, so.
Yeah.
So we went back every year.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, In Flames, Bloodshot Dawn, Angel is Apartment, a new album. I mean, the list goes on, and your solos are everywhere. It's just that I always wonder, I just cannot figure out that this is a Christopher Amott solo. I mean, I don't know what sort of scales you use or the kind of solos you come up with. I'm not a guitarist, but whenever I listen to these tracks where you have done a guest solo, I don't know. I mean, it's like there's this specific sound which can immediately make me feel that yes, this is Christopher Amott. But you're so diverse. I just I end up being clueless, to be honest.
Wow. Well, thank you for the kind words. I don't know. I don't really consider myself having my own style, and I don't think I have a big ego about my playing. I just kind of try and do the best I can every time, and I'll admit that I'm a big fan of a lot of guitar players, and I've been influenced very much. So, I mean, I loved Yngwie Malmsteen and Marty Friedman and Michael Schenker and Paul Gilbert, a whole bunch of guys. So, been very into their style, so hopefully I've created my own style along the way, and I'm still trying to develop. I'm learning new things, and trying to keep myself, up to date. Not up to date, but I'm trying to learn new things, So right. There's still a few scales I'm not very good at. So
that's tough to believe.
Something about metal is that the music you're playing to is usually just a power chords. You know, it's usually just either just a power chord, which is 2 notes, or 1 note even. It's not big chords, so there's not a lot of information about what to play. So you can play. A lot of times you can play any kind of crazy scale you want, and it's going to sound okay. So you can go kind of atonal, and it works. You know.
Awesome, awesome. Now, we're talking about Japan. I still wonder, how come you moved to US? I mean, States permanently. I mean, like Marty Friedman.
I married an American girl, you know.
Oh, cool. Because Marty, as a musician as well, I mean, after being done with the Megadeth, and he just moved to Japan, and then he got into the pop music, and his new album kicked ass. So I was just wondering, how come? Because you have a strong fan following there, you could have stayed up, because States is costly as hell.
If I married a Japanese woman, I don't know. No, I just kind of I left Arch Enemy, and then I was already married at that time to an American girl, and then we just decided to move here, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's just simple as that. And then then we moved to New York. She got a job in New York, and now I'm here in the Big Apple.
Awesome, awesome. Any possibility of you guys, Armageddon touring with, like Armageddon and Arch Enemy on one bill together? I'm sure it's going to be a treat for fans looking at her two, amazing bands together.
Yeah, we talked about it, me and my brother, So yeah, definitely. That would be awesome, and I'm totally open for that, and he is too. So it's all about timing and general matters like finances and
right.
Yeah,
Absolutely true. So before I conclude the interview, how about you describe your journey from the 90s till now, let's say in a sentence?
Well, it's a learning experience, I like to learn and develop as a human. So the person I was in the 90s, I hope I'm different now, because I was very much into just playing guitar, and I didn't know very much about the business side and everything else. So, and I think I've developed as a songwriter and as a general musician. So I think it's been I'm really grateful, and I've learned a lot, and I want to keep developing. So,
right, very hard to describe your 2-decade-long career in just a sentence, right?
Yeah, it's hopefully it'll be another 2 decades.
Absolutely, brother. I look forward to see you guys in India. I just hope it happens, if not this year, at least for the next year, because you have got tons of fans, and I don't mind seeing Armageddon in front of me live, because that will be a very unique experience for me. I'm from a melodic death metal background, and then you in front of me playing those crazy riffs and solos. There's nothing beyond that for me as a fan.
I'd love to come and play. Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I love Indian culture. What I've experienced of it. I mean, it's a pretty big thing worldwide, of course. You know that. So, that like the food and the music, that you guys have is very famous. It's a strong culture. So, I'd definitely like to come and experience the country firsthand, and of course, play for any fans that I might have.
That might have. That's a wrong point, to be honest. Nonetheless, thanks, Chris. An honor having a chat with you. Any last message for your Indian fans who will be listening to this interview?
Thank you for listening to my music, and thank you for supporting me, and I hope to come and see you all one day soon.
Thank you very much, Chris. You have a wonderful day ahead, and I look forward to see you guys live, if not in India, at least in Europe.
Okay, thank you very much.